Today I'm reacting to Frieren episode 16. The next 3 episodes and full reaction are on Patreon. I'm so glad to be watching Frieren again. It's been at least 2 weeks since I recorded episodes 14 and 15. And thanks again to you guys so much for all your support so far. It's so appreciated. So photographs would have existed. Yeah, I'm surprised. Okay, so we're going to be getting a little bit more backstory to Sign in this episode. That'll be interesting. I presume we're getting something very tragic with Sign's character development today, given this ghostly music that's occurring. Yeah, that looks pretty tragic, alright. Sign, I know you have a deep, complex heart within you. Let's find out what it is. So thankfully, touch wood, so far my physical condition is slowly but surely getting better, but I have a long way to go for recovery with tendonitis. I also just want to note that I know that the YouTube uploads for episodes 9, 10, and 11 were like a week apart each. I really want to create this as a twice a week reaction series, but I'm just doing the best I can with everything going on medically, I'm afraid. All that being said, I'm really having a blast with this series so far, and I can't wait to see what episodes 16 and 17 have in store for us. Lastly, please keep your comments coming. I promise it's not just for the algorithm. I love hearing from you guys. I'm so blessed to have such a good fan base so far, so yeah, thanks. Long live friend. Yep, okay. We're harkening back to the past. What's gonna happen? A new dwarf we're going to be meeting. Good question. Yeah, that's been established over the last couple of episodes, so I'm very interested to see what they end up doing with this. Yeah, you see, this is the issue, isn't it? Frieren would want to be there for a decade. Fern wants to be here for a week because they have totally different perceptions on time. I'm really enjoying all this downtime we're getting and like the slow build up to the inciting incident in this episode so far. Oh, pretending. I didn't see that coming. You see, I would have been Stark. Yeah, that would have been me. I'd be the first to die on the battlefield, because I just believe people when they tell me they're senile. Oh, great framing there from the low angle looking at them. And the wooden beams in the foreground as well. That's a really interesting framing. I mean, given Frieren's strategy in episode 10, who cares if it's underhanded? If it works, it works. Oh, so yeah, this is what I was about to say. She's planning to stay for a decade. Fern doesn't want that. I think it's just so interesting with regards to her characterization, how just one-track mind Frieren is. She always has it. It's like, nope, I want to stay here for as long as I want. So I take it that what's happening with Old Vol here is going to have some sort of parallel with Sign and his backstory? Stark. Is he lifting him on the big thing? That's hilarious. Oh, what a beautiful shot. See the way all the art style and the like leaves in the background? Just absolutely fabulous. Great lighting here. Even though I'm not even halfway through all the episodes of Frieren yet, I'm gonna miss this so much when it's over. What a fantastic show. Yes, I wonder, are we gonna get a flash? We are gonna get a flashback. Hooray! Okay, so there's an emotional link to this area. Same with the one Sign has with the village he grew up in. Interesting animation style there on the wife. Yeah, again, time and time again, Himmel seems to be the voice of reason with regards to the emotional importance of these relationships. Exactly, it's so interesting that Frieren is essentially this walking library of people's memories. It's so important for her to keep people's souls alive. Oh, fabulous shot with the fireflies. Yeah. Yes, that's an excellent conflict to have. When memory is all you have after all these centuries of living, when your memory starts to go, your soul starts to go. And then, of course, you're thinking about how he's mirroring protection of the village to protection of the world. It's so fascinating as well when you consider if he doesn't think the Demon King is dead, he still has the capacity to live his life with the hope of there being a better future. Exactly, the very act of Frieren existing is what allows to solidify memories. I love that as a continuous theme throughout the story. Okay, Act B, what are we getting? Of course. So again, we are getting this parallel because he has a partner just like old Vol. So are there other villagers who may remember him? Fern! I love the dialogue in this show so much, it's just fabulous. Like, all the characters are so similar with their demeanor, they all have the capacity to be sarcastic, but Fern's deadpan just makes it so effective. I love it. Again, this is what I love about the pacing of the show. When it's fast, it's fast. When it's slow, it is slow. I love the way the animation works for background characters. Granny's stubborn. Yeah, you're telling me. Yeah, like literally, that's what I was thinking. It's like, my name is Granny Plot Device. Well, yeah, like I've been saying tons of times before, so much of this show has the trappings of an RPG. And this show is basically D&D, the anime. I mean, it's happened lots of times throughout the show, but it's particularly reminiscent of our very second episode, you know, doing all these fetch quests with Fern. Granny is stubborn. Oh, okay. But what's the catch? There has to be something about the statue that's going to make it particularly challenging. I wonder if the statue we're going to be cleaning has a relation to Old Vol, maybe, just to bring it full circle? Possibly? Nope, they are tall. Oh, okay, we're actually going directly with Sign. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that definitely makes a certain amount of sense that I used to get priest and monk mixed up in our introductory episode 2 sign. I love how they're bringing that back. That callback is wonderful. Oh, even more interesting. Like it's a legend or something like that, or a prophecy that was supposed to come through. So is that going to be an overarching theme throughout this season? Learning to accept the fact that memories are meant to be forgotten? It's possible. Ooh, the music swelling in as well is wonderful. Mm-hmm.
確かにそうですね。ではあなたは僧侶あごひげですね。きっと似合いますよ、あごひげ。
That's really, really great. I really enjoyed that sequence. That was great.
あいつは戦いしか取り柄がない。
でも名前のインパクトはバッチリだったよ。一緒にずっと歴史に名を残すような英雄になるってね。
Again, it just kind of keeps cropping up again and again and again, the importance of leaving one's history.
ゴリラの行き先分かった？
テューは
オイサーストとは反対方向だね。
Yikes, okay. So is this where we're splitting up, given the proximity?
どうしたもんかね。
Oh, so it looks like he's going... Oh, shit, it ended already? Oh, man. What a cliffhanger. So with the episode being a little bit more kind of straightforward story-wise, at this point it's a bit more minimal, a bit more slower pace. I haven't a huge amount else to say that I think, you know, wasn't covered within the reaction itself, but I do love the very deliberate parallel that was set up in this episode and kind of developed with this idea of the importance of memory, of how Sign, sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, by the way, but of how Sign and Frieren have their own approaches to memory and the importance of history. I said this, I believe, in which episode was it? I believe it was the reaction to episode 13. I was talking about how having this older character of Sign works great because we have a contemporary companion to Frieren. Up until this point, the only person who has been kind of significantly older. I mean, we had Hightower in the first episode and we're kind of getting the flashbacks to Himmel, but it's only really been Aizen up until this point who has been similar to age in Frieren, not similar in age, obviously. I just mean that he's significantly older than the likes of Stark and Fern, a little bit more world weary. So he has this value system for memory that the two young'uns don't necessarily have. So I think it was very strong storytelling to have Frieren be the protag for part A and then Sign for part B. We have this very similar parallel in that in both instances we have to complete these series of tasks in order to get to the bit of information we need, which, I mean, could you say it's padding? Sure. But I think it's more so in line with the idea of they're deliberately trying to slow the pace of this episode. They're giving us a little bit more, I wouldn't even say characterization so much as just kind of a little bit of slice of life, just kind of seeing the characters go about their thing. I mean, within this type of show, that could be considered kind of the set piece, for lack of a better term. So we had this parallel story then of what it means to keep memories alive, and we see this very frightening view, when you think about it, of Old Man Vol, in that his memory is starting to dissipate. And as I said during the reaction, when a character is this old and they see people continuously die over and over and over again, because it's very, very important to the story that his wife was specifically human and her days were always going to be numbered, and he is presumably lived a life 4 times as long than she could possibly ever live. when a memory starts to fade, it is as though your soul is starting to dissipate, because memory is the linchpin to your entire life. And kind of from speaking that out loud, it is something that I alluded to a lot in my previous reviews, but especially at a time like this when you're face to face with an episode that's just all based on memory and history and whatnot. It does make you realize that for us, for human beings, our entire lives are focused around time. And time is continuously subverted as a value system for Frieren throughout the series, and this episode no less, when she literally says to Fern, "We'll be here for a decade," because to her a decade is like only a couple of weeks or maybe even a handful of months. So time isn't her priority so much as it is memory. And I can imagine that at least by the end of this season, because we're past the halfway point now, very sadly, there's going to have to be this overarching message, or at least kind of story struggle between Frieren's strategy and the constraint of, you have all the time in the world, but death is always going to be a part of your storyline. And as such, you need to adapt. You need to apply the strategy of memory and history making as a means to an end of keeping people alive. Because that is basically Frieren's overarching goal, right? Is to try to keep as many people alive as she possibly can, because, as aforementioned, she's the only person who really has that ability. She has, as I said earlier, she's existing as this walking library, as this walking monument. She's the person that people look towards as legend. Not just legend in the mythical sense, but like an actual legend, like an actual story reference that contextualizes everything else. And of course, it's not a coincidence that the person who encapsulates that same ethos in the second part of the episode is the stubborn old woman, who, again, her name actually being Stubborn Grandmother is like not the most creative on the storytellers at that time. I mean, of course, I know obviously it's idiosyncratic as part of the locals living nearby her that would call her that, but it's just, again, from a storytelling point of view, I find that very amusing. But anyway, of course it says so much that the mantle would fall on her to be this encapsulation of, like, only for her existing, we wouldn't have a trail for Gorilla the Warrior. Do you know what I mean? And of course now, the episode has ended on that cliffhanger as to will he, won't he stay part of our troupe. I didn't get to say it in the reaction itself, but yeah, I was kind of assuming our days with Sign would be numbered, given the fact that his presence in the OP visuals isn't... His presence in the OP visuals is only really as prominent as that of Craft, which isn't that prominent at all. So it makes sense if we are only going to have a couple more episodes with him in this season. But yeah, I thought this was a great episode. I think that it's there's not much to say other than the fact that, you know, I wouldn't say, like, this is, I suppose you could say it's more, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say it's more character driven than other episodes. I think it's the fact that because that's more so to do with the fact that there really wasn't a huge amount of plot this time around, so it's easier to say that it's character driven in that particular point. But I think that I was about to say that this episode is nonetheless important for, like, the rest of the overarching season story, but I think that it's really going to be the next episode that will just show how important this episode is. Not to say that if he just, you know, disappears 5 minutes into the next episode and we never hear from him again, that this episode won't matter, because I think self-contained, as much as it can be when the episode is very much harking back to the past and future, but you know what I mean, as its own isolated bit of storytelling, it's very much illustrative of the importance of memory to these characters, as well as to the world they're living in, and the story that's been told so far, and most likely the story that's going to be continue to be told. So I think I want to leave it there. Pretty hungry as well. I'm going to go put on a frozen pizza for myself, take a break for an hour or two. It is exactly 12:30 at night when I'm shooting this, because I have the house to myself. So I'm going to get some pizza, come back in about an hour, and I'm very excited to watch the next episode. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I just want to thank you so much for watching me and supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form that you are, because I want to make this my full-time career, and let's hope that this is the year I'm going to finally be able to do it amidst all my medical BS that I'm going through. Shout out again to my family who are editing all these videos for me. I make the notes on my phone by watching the footage, the reaction footage over and over and over again, using speech to text so I don't have to type with my hands, and then I call out the exact sequence of keyboard inputs for them to put in to do the edit. So it's very long, and I haven't been feeling the best the last 2 weeks, which is why this has slowed down to twice a week. But hopefully, sorry, it's slowed down to once a week for the uploads, but hopefully by the time this reaction that you're watching on YouTube right now, it'll have gone a little bit more frequent, but I guess time will tell, won't it? Arigatou gozaimasu. Thanks for watching.